Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Good morning, everybody! Happy Monday to all across the Delaware Valley. It is a victory Monday. Not only that, wow, if you ever felt a little trepidation about the Super Bowl, let it loose, baby. Let it loose. The Eagles made a statement yesterday, a huge statement yesterday when it comes to whether or not they are Super Bowl caliber. Not only that, but they made big strides on the 1 seed, the bye and home field throughout. Oh, man, we got lots to talk about. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. You got to check out the credit union difference, TrueMark.com/PHLY. All right, here it was yesterday. And look, the Steelers, tough front, the toughest front the Eagles will face. And their mission, stop Saquon. Listen, I would have done the same thing. They completely sold out against Saquon and said, Jalen, beat us. I got to tell you, you want to talk about answering questions. 25 of 32 for 290, 2 touchdowns. And he goes, listen, you all wanted to see that? Yeah, I did. And he showed it. He was fabulous yesterday. He was terrific yesterday. Listen, I had major questions about that. And he was unbelievable. He and AJ on the same page, circle of love, my buddy Boo said yesterday. That's what it was, the circle of love. And they were just on the same page. Devontae, wow, what a game, man. Not only that, right? Because the game, listen, got dicey at times, right? Like, you had the turnovers, the whole thing. The defense was spectacular. The defense completely locked down, locked in. Right? Wow, man. That team is just dangerous. Now, not only this, because this is also what's interesting, because the defense obviously played really well, but the idea of how the offense, Kellen Moore called one of the best games he'll ever call. The Steelers had 2 possessions in the second half. Can you imagine that? They had 2 possessions the entire second half. That drive was a thing of beauty. Over 10 minutes, they had the football. That was something. That was a complete statement game. I got to tell you, I'm like giddy over it. It was great football. It was just a great win. And you couple that with the Lions getting beat at home by the Bills. And not only that, the Lions suffered 3 more injuries. All right, big injuries to the secondary. Another linebacker goes down. That team is just, on that side of the football, completely decimated. So they still have to play at Chicago coming up next week. You got to play. Here you go. That's right. Look at that. Khalil Dorsey, huge corner, right? McNeil's a stud. Carlton Davis had a concussion. He'll be back, but the other 2 are going to miss the season. Big. Good job, Andrew. Big stuff, man. And so they got to play at Chicago. And, of course, they still got to play Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is going to be smelling blood. So, all of a sudden, the mighty Lions are vulnerable. They got a nail in their paw. They're vulnerable. Look at that. Birds right now. Catbird seat. You got Washington coming up. And then the dead Cowboys and dead Giants. This team's won 10 in a row, a franchise record. If it needs to clinch home field throughout, it could end the season with 13 straight wins. What? I don't ever remember anything close. Like Andy Reid won a lot of games. Like he reeled off a bunch of games. He had a lot of success. I remember in 03, they started out the gate slow, and then they went on an epic run. Right? 04, they go on the epic run. Wow, I gotta tell you this thing. I never see anything like it. And you got to give Nick Sirianni a ton of credit. That team has been buttoned up, ready to go. We all know what happened over the weekend, last weekend, and Monday night on the radio with BG, and the AJ, Jalen saga, all that stuff. And he answered a lot of questions, BG. He answered a ton of questions when it came down to it. That team was one. They came out as one. I'm supremely impressed. I mean, he's got them rolling right now. They are in a great space as we get ready for the stretch run. Wow. Talk about Merry Christmas, Philadelphia. This has been a big-time Merry Christmas gift. And it was not even I never even felt the threat of the Steelers. There was some sloppiness early on, but, like, they couldn't move the ball. Zach Bond all over the field. Eagles defense flying. Just fantastic. All right, let's get to our friends. Good morning, JP. VG Violations Greg.
What's up, brother? Woo. Hell, Nicky, man. The glue that holds this team together.
Hey, he's Elmer.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing. Like, he coached a hell of a game. Like, that team was ready.
Coached a hell of a week, I guess, with all the distractions going on, man. Man, Pittsburgh looked terrible.
Look at our boy.
He looks like a Sherpa on the mountains of Nepal.
The ferry. It cracks me up. You got the ferry jacket on.
Can I be honest? I feel kind of like a bear.
You look like a bear.
I feel like a bear.
You look like the Revenant. You bring me back to the Wednesdays with that jacket. Look at that. You look at the mountains of Columbia. Did it ever get cold in Columbia?
In Bogota, like the capital region, it gets cold. It gets like in the 40s, 50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. What was that outrageous?
What a win, cuz.
It was an amazing win.
You got obviously the big story is the passing game. Everyone wanted to see Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown slinging, and you saw it on the first drive. I think there was only one running play on that first drive, but it obviously ends in a field goal. But even like you look on the other side of the ball, that D line was ridiculous.
Oh,
Jalen Carter was shedding. Even like Nolan Smith deserves some flowers here today.
Head slap.
Oh my God.
Man, that head slap was wicked.
Yeah. Oh my God. I felt that on the couch.
Oh my God.
It was a punch and a half.
You love it.
I know. I'll be
you
honest.
love a little edge with him, man.
I do. I love it. Listen, I got no problem at all. Now listen, you're Sirianni. You can't have that penalty because you almost gave the ball back. But I like it.
I'm down with it.
You know, I like it.
I'm a loose cannon.
That's what makes him fearsome.
Yes.
That's what Ndamukong Suh. Remember?
Yes.
You remember? That's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Ndamukong Suh, Jalen.
Be a little JL.
Stepping on people.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You know, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Just fantastic stuff, man.
It was some cold steel last night.
And no one says anything about, I threw it out on Twitter, Nick is hugging it out with Jalen. Afterwards, I see it on one of the running plays down at the bottom. Nobody makes mention. I've watched ESPN all morning. They show Nick arguing. No one shows the makeup hug.
They don't see.
No one shows the makeup
hug. You know
hug.
why? Because they don't care about that.
No,
their
right.
makeup. They don't. That's not part of their narrative.
Right. Big Dom there, peace broker, right behind him.
Yeah. Nah, it's my man. My man, Big Dom was there. He was at Tony's restaurant, Aroma.
I heard
with Brady.
I heard Brady give a shout out.
Yeah. Saturday night.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Oh, yeah, Andrew. Yes, Frazier.
Do you think that passing offense would have happened if everything that happened in the week with AJ and Jalen and all that stuff?
I don't think that matters.
Do you think
I don't think
seen
that matters. No. I don't think that matters. It's about how the defense plays you.
You don't think it was a spark that was like, all right, we're going to show you now that you've talked about it?
No, I mean, like, you got to be able to, listen, you don't just do something like that just to to make it. Who cares what people say? You're trying to win a football game. So that's all because of how Pittsburgh played you. Like, we knew that they were going to sell out and try to stop Saquon. So Kellen Moore's game plan was, let's go down the field. And that's it.
Yeah.
And he executed.
Devonta Smith talked about it after the game. They knew that's what Pittsburgh wanted to do. They wanted to stop the run.
I said it last week.
They were salivating on single high safety.
It wasn't hard. Like, listen, I would have done the same thing with their front.
Yep.
You sell out, stop Barkley, and go, all right, well, Jalen beat us. And he beat you. Like, that's where you got to give him a ton of credit. I give him a ton of credit because he played flawless. He played great. 25 and 32.
I got to think some of the week laid into it a little bit because we saw it with the Ravens. You know, you come out, normally they would come out, try to establish the run, and then if that's not working, go to the pass. They came out, they're like, we're establishing the pass. And I think
they didn't sell out, dude. They didn't sell out the way Baltimore didn't sell out the way Pittsburgh did.
No, but I mean, Baltimore is they were like the best run stopping defense at the time.
Yeah, but
so they didn't come out throwing then.
But you know what? It's a numbers game, right? Who's in a box?
I know. I just think
it's a numbers game, dude. I'm telling you.
Saying it had no bearing on the first play of the game's an empty backfield. I think it had something to do with let's get Jalen and
there
going.
Was a touch.
Let's get him going early a little bit.
It, I think.
Listen, getting them going because you're going to go and have to face all those. Like, I don't buy that. Like, listen, I don't buy any of that stuff.
I'm not selling it.
Like I don't buy. To me, it's about like you're not. If I'm an OC come up with a game plan, I'm not looking for that nonsense. I'm looking to try to win football game. Like I don't care about two guys and all that nonsense. I don't care about that. I'm trying to win a game.
Kellen Moore doesn't care about that. They had meetings all week long on this. Long, uncomfortable meetings all week long, the receivers are saying.
They got on the same page. They went through whatever they had to go through. But if you're the OC, come up with a game plan, you know that Pittsburgh is going to sell out to stop Barkley.
Yeah, but I think over what we've seen, it would just be like, all right, let's see. No one else has stopped us. Let's see if Pittsburgh can stop us. I do.
You don't run against a stacked front.
We can run against anyone leading up to this.
No, but again, numbers play into the game.
I know. I disagree.
I
don't believe coming out with an empty backfield. You're like, what? All right.
Yeah, because you think that they're going to stack the box against you.
Yeah.
It's a football thing.
Iron sharpens iron. Stack the box. Let's run it down their throat. That's what we've been saying for like 3 weeks. Yeah. And now you're going to say, now we come out as the greatest show on turf? No. I mean,
but you're going to
do it this week.
Here's why. Here's why I don't believe it. Because Pittsburgh is going to sell out against Barkley, right? So I got to be able to throw the football. Because if that strategy works, then all of a sudden I'm exposed going into the playoffs. So I'm going to come out with a game plan saying, all right, like you come out, we're going to make you pay.
I agree.
Do you think that this is a formula that they continue with moving forward? Because
if you sell out against the run.
It got Jalen in a rhythm very early.
But if you sell out, again, it goes back to how teams are going to play it.
Yeah, sure.
Our team's going to sell out and play the run. Like, that's it.
I just think getting Jalen started so early like he was in that game helped him for the rest of the game moving forward. He was spot on.
Listen,
and I think throwing the ball
I agree
early
with
for
that.
them.
I think he played very, very well. He found his rhythm early. He was accurate.
He's dominant when he does.
He was accurate. He found windows. I'm just not I know you are. You're a drama guy.
Dude, they were making a statement. And it's like, all right, we made a statement. AJ got the touchdown. Pressure's off. Let's just go do our thing. I think it played. They're human beings. They're football players, but they're humans.
Right. But the OC is trying to win a game.
I know.
Part of why you try to win a game.
But you're saying that if you come out for the first possession, try to establish a run, you can't, and then you adjust to the pass, you're not going to win the game. I mean.
No, I'm saying I got a team that's going to stack the box on me all game long.
I know. So let's see if we can win. Force versus force, and if we can, we'll go to the pass.
No, I mean, again, like at some point, I got to try to throw the ball.
I'm not saying the whole game. I'm saying the first drive.
The first drive is when you want to try to.
This team has stunk the first drive all season.
The first drive is when you want to try to show that I can throw the football.
They haven't done that all year in the first drive. They're like the worst.
This is the first time that they have somebody came out and completely sold out against them.
I just don't believe that this had nothing to do with it. But you're not going to convince me. I'm not going to convince you.
Yeah, well, I'm just giving you the X and O.
And I'm giving the human element.
That
They're
doesn't
humans.
matter.
They're humans. They're not.
But again,
They're not
but if
X's and
you're-
O's letters. They're humans.
But I agree. Except again, at some point, you have to establish that you can throw the football.
Yeah, of
Not
course.
right or wrong.
Absolutely.
So then why wouldn't you do it to start the game? If you're Kellen Moore,
Because that's not their MO.
exactly, even more of a reason to do it.
I mean, Kellen's not the most creative guy. No, he's not the most creative guy in the world. He had a good game.
Like, I don't understand. Like, real quick.
Yeah.
Like, I get the AJ Brown. Like, do I think they celebrated that? Yeah. Like, having success? Yeah. Like, from that human element. But, like, the proper thing to do is if you know Pittsburgh is going to crowd the box, right? So it means there's numbers on the outside. You're going to have man on the outside. So if you know that, and you know that, listen, at some point, teams are going to do that to me. It could be anybody, Minnesota, Green Bay, right? I got to be able to throw the football.
Agree.
So why wouldn't you game plan that way?
Because it's just not who they are. I just don't.
But no team is sold out.
I hear
like
what you're
that.
saying.
All right.
I just don't think. I think it plays something into it.
Yeah, no team is sold out like that. Like Pittsburgh came in and did what no other team did. What did you make?
Shout out to Ring the Bell in the chat room. He agrees with you. He says I'm totally clueless about the sport. So he's with you today.
I'm not about clue. No, it's not about the clues. I'm just whatever. I like the way. I love the way. I thought Kellen Moore called a great game.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
that 10-minute drive was just a thing of beauty.
That was the most impressive thing of the game. They only went 70 yards.
Dude,
right?
It's amazing. Pittsburgh has 2 possessions
Yeah.
the
It's wild.
entire second half.
Yeah, in the NFL, they averaged 4th in the NFL in total time of possession with over 31 minutes. And so for them to have only 20 minutes the entire game, that was really impressive. But it goes to what you guys talked about, Kellen Moore and his play calling, especially in that second half.
That Najee Harris
and
fumble just
Yeah, the
that was
Najee Harris.
turned the game.
And like to be
What was
honest,
that?
how much is George Pickens really going to affect that game? I think if he was still in that game, we would still see the win that we saw.
You've been on Quintana
Well,
Bay.
listen, I think they win too. But, I mean, clearly, you lose your best receiver. I mean, look, I don't think that Russell Wilson is going to beat them anyway.
Nah.
That
I-
offense is going to beat this defense.
No, I think this defense is elite. Like this defense is special.
Yeah. Very special.
So I don't think the Steelers offense is any good. And like even with George Pickens, I don't think their offense
No.
is going to go up and down the field. I don't believe it. I don't believe that their run game. It's not like Detroit. Like Detroit, I think could score on anybody. Now their defense is decimated, but even when they got into a rhythm, they were going up the field on Buffalo. Like they could score.
But Buffalo's defense is also not that great. So that was just a game. Detroit and Buffalo was a game of no defense. That's essentially what it was.
Shaw's a good defensive coach, and Buffalo's defense is better than Detroit. Detroit just is dead. Like they're decimated on defense.
Yeah.
I like Buffalo's defense. I do. But the Eagles' defense is better, and Pittsburgh's not going to go up and down the field on the Eagles.
Detroit's in trouble.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Like you feel their momentum. Like you can feel it kind of grind to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not just losing the game. When you lose 3 key components like that, the Eagles can swoop in and grab the 1 seed. Then you got to come to Lincoln Financial Field.
Dummy Campbell, he's feeling it. The onside kick with like 10 minutes left.
Dude, they cut it to 10.
Yeah.
And he goes onside kick.
Yeah, because
He's
he's
insane,
feeling it, man. He's panicking.
Which is like all you gotta do is get a stop. Like and they started to get a stop, and then you go down and get points. You got them sweating.
Right. Yeah.
You got momentum. The dumbest thing in the world. He's got no feel for the guy. I don't understand his feel. I love the fact that he's that crazy.
He's a cement head, dude. That's all he is.
No, he's the guy from
Cement
Uncut
head.
Gems.
My mother used to say that.
That's a great
She
term.
used to call me a cement head.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mother would say that to me.
Yeah.
Cement head. That's a good.
Dude, let me tell you. I mean,
Is that like an old school?
I think so.
That's
yeah.
old school. Yeah, I've never heard that.
And let's get back to some real serious topics. It was cold tailgating. I saw Joey Marone was down there, our intern. It was cold
Nice,
down
dude.
there.
My man.
It would have been
Tailgate
great after
Joey.
3 hours in the cold to go into a nice dome at 70 degrees and watch that game.
Oh, with the dome. No
Let's go
dome's
back with
been.
the dome.
Yeah, let's get
Get
off
the frig
that.
out of here with the
Joey
dome.
knows it's cold, man.
That's football, man.
It is.
That's
It's
it. That's
December.
football weather.
What do you expect?
Joey walking around.
Eagles,
You know what?
Steelers,
You have a case of
cold.
White
Come
Claw?
on, man.
People walking around 12
Ain't
pack
no
of White
laws.
Claws.
You went to White Claw. No, you didn't.
Watching the
I was
waistline.
outside yesterday.
Oh, wow.
All
man,
morning. I
doing
was
combine
out-
drills with the
drills.
kids.
Outside all morning.
Quarterback footwork.
Yes. All morning. All right. All morning. Massimo was at quarterback drills in Delaware with Coach Damon.
Wow.
All right. And my man Charlie and his son, who's the quarterback at St. Joe's Prep.
Oh, nice.
It was quarterback day.
Quarterback day.
From 10 to noon outside of an elementary school.
10 to noon?
Yes.
Wow.
Outside
2 hours,
elementary
man.
school in Delaware. We were outside. Dude, I was like this.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm not
see?
even
Yeah,
moving,
man.
Crazy.
right? Massimo was like, all right, man, like, this is how you would spend your Sunday morning. I go, dude, you're working, dude. That's what it's about.
You should put the
You
gloves
want
on.
to be like Jalen?
You gotta go
right.
like, you gotta go Italian market. Get a trash can fire going while you're watching.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a genius. You're a genius. All right, we got lots to get to. A million ways to unravel this game. What a game. It was a statement. It was a super statement. That's it. Birds. All right, let's take care of some business. Talk about our friends. Go ahead, VG.
Yeah, let's talk about our friends over at Rite Aid. It's allergy season. It's always allergy season. Ask cuz. It's raining. Mold's high. We got mold in the studio. Symptoms are flaring up. You know them. Itchy, red, swollen, watery eyes, sneezing, nasal congestion, scratchy throat and coughing, headaches, all that stuff. Well, how do you get some relief? First of all, sign up at RiteAid.com for some Rite Aid reward emails. They'll alert you when there are some pollen and allergens elevated in your area. That's at RiteAid.com/rewards. Then head over to Rite Aid and get some over-the-counter options available to ease your symptoms. You can try their nasal rinses, a little saline nasal flush, which I like to use. They got the decongestants, maybe, if the antihistamines aren't working. And those antihistamines they got are like Claritin, Allegra, Zyrtec. They're all at your local Rite Aid. You can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist if they have recommendations for other things to ease your symptoms so you can get some relief. So visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on your immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. You can walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at RiteAid.com.
Love it, VG. Obviously, our man Massimo Gargano's getting the proper coaching for quarterbacking, and maybe he's going to also need some proper coaching for his finances. And your kids
That
can
ain't
as well.
coming from me. That's coming from TrueMark.
That's right. Our friends over at TrueMark Financial, they're teaching financial responsibility with the brand new Greenlight app. It's amazing, guys. It's free, and it's teaching our kids here to not only make some proper financial decisions, we're also going to teach them how to save, all that good stuff. Some of the things that we didn't have as kids, with the new Greenlight app, they're going to be able to have those skills themselves. And of course, they're going to get their own debit card. I know that sounds a little scary for some of our young parents out there, but it's great because you'll also be able to monitor their spending while they're also learning to create financial, skills that they're going to need for their life here. So it's free and easy. Head on over to truemark.com/greenlight or visit any of the 24 branches here in the Philadelphia area. You can walk in, answer any questions you may be having as well. That's truemark.com/greenlight. Thank you to our friends over at TrueMark Financial.
All right. Thank you, buddy. We got our man. He's coming up in just a moment. We're going to talk to Zach Berman, Z-Berm. Today, we'll talk to Mike Sielski, the great columnist for the Inquirer. And, of course, Fran Duffy, as we're going to get all X-ed-O'd up.
We have a psychologist coming up later, talk about the emotions of AJ and Jalen.
Oh, my God.
The national media emotions.
Yeah.
My God.
I do feel like a little bit of them, but that was definitely, affected them. And that's why they did what they did. Just
That's
a little
not
bit.
why they did what they did, but whatever. I'm going to argue. I'm going to argue left and right with you guys, but that's fine. Like we take like these things, and inside the room is completely different.
They're a well-tuned locker room.
Like you're going to listen. People have issues all the
Right.
time, right? You have issues all the time. So when you have issues, at the workplace, you got to get through them. Like, you know, people hate each other. Play basketball on the same team, you hate each other, right? But you're still going to go do your thing.
Yeah.
Best team in football.
Well, that's
Our Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, 100%.
They are. When you look at the offense and you look at this defense,
Very well balanced.
I mean, it's the truth.
Rex Ryan said they were the most complete team in football this morning.
I think they are. I agree with Rex. All right, now joining us from the All PHLY Bird Show. What a job he does covering his team. He is, of course, our man, the author by his book, All About the Birds, Zach Berman. Z-Bird.
Hey, good morning. Good talking to you guys.
What are you, an Uber?
Yeah. In between things today. So
No, I think it's great.
I want to make sure I got you at 9:30.
No, I appreciate it, buddy.
It's like the Jeff McClain heaven effect or something.
Yeah, he's got the sun glow. I love it. All right. We got it. Let's get to it. This was a statement win. I mean, all facets. But here it was. They knew that this front of Pittsburgh was going to be their biggest test. And the Steelers said, we're selling out, and we're going to sell out to stop Saquon. And Jalen, God bless him, played his best game of the season.
You're absolutely right. It was a narrative answering game for the Eagles. You saw Jalen Hurts get to the post-game press conference, look at the cameras and say, so that's what you all wanted, right? You heard A.J. Brown saying
I did.
that the touchdown dance was his way of trying to shut everybody up. I don't think I'm confident that the way they played in terms of the game plan was not a response to everything that happened during the week, because we spoke going into the game about how the Steelers were going to sell out against the run. And this was going to be a game where you look from a matchup perspective.
And Frazier.
Listen, I love Zach. He's wrong every now and then, like you. Every now and then he could be wrong. I mean, I love you guys, but you're not infallible. It's okay.
Well, no, but the second part to that is it definitely, from a timing perspective, it worked out in the Eagles' favor that of all weeks, this was the week when they were facing a team that was going to sell out against the pass, and they had that type of opportunity to do it because you saw them respond.
Yeah, and one of the things, how they responded, like Hurts was, I mean, he was near flawless. His accuracy was right there. Got the ball out. What was the difference? 25-32. Listen, we saw him not see the field. It wasn't like it wasn't a mirage, right? Like there were times when he was holding on to the ball. Why did it work so perfectly? Like he was incandescent in this game.
Yeah, well, there were a few things. First off, the way the Steelers were playing defense, you saw a lot of single high man on first and second down, a lot of cover two on third down. So the way it was presented, the Eagles had answers for that, number one. Number two, they played a lot of empty. They played their most empty really since the start of the season. They had more this was their most dropbacks in empty this season. They had their most yards in empty. They had more yards in empty today than the past 7 games combined. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to spread out the Steelers. I know you're gonna have Fran on. He'll explain it much better than me. But when teams are when defenses are in empty, it forces them to give you answers right away. Yep. Right. And that's when you're trusting A.J. Brown. That's when you're trusting Devonta Smith. And
to win
those guys were yep. Exactly. They were running open throughout the game. I thought Kellen Moore called a good game. I thought Jalen, for the most part, especially out of empty, was getting rid of the ball quickly out of empty. And look, Lane Johnson, it was an interesting conversation. He was asked about the passing. And he said all he was thinking about was the whole game was stopping TJ Watt, right? He said and not letting TJ Watt wreck the game. And I bring that up because if you're holding the ball too long against the Steelers, you're going to have trouble. And if you're holding the ball too long against the Steelers, you're going to have trouble. And if you're holding the ball too long against the Steelers, you're going to have trouble. And if you're holding the ball too long against the Steelers, you're going to have trouble. And if you're holding the ball too long against the Steelers, they're going to get you. And you saw
Yes.
that when,
Yes.
when there was the forced fumble. So that's why he had to deliver the ball quickly. And I thought that was a big difference. Their yards didn't come from chunk plays downfield. It came from yards after the catch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it was and listen, he can make that slant. He makes that throw. Like, that's a throw he's comfortable making and he's accurate with.
I've said on this show, that's an easy button. That's like you click the easy button, that slant. In training camp,
Yeah.
slant all day, and you can't stop it. And I write my training camp notes like this play can't be stopped. And then the Eagles don't go to it as frequently during the season. But AJ, and then when he gets that head of steam, he is so tough for defensive backs to bring down.
Yeah, he's such a great player. He just AJ's an elite receiver, man. Like, he just is so. When you watch him actually get the football with volume, he's as good as anybody out there. I mean, he's as good as Jefferson. He's as good as all of them. He really is.
And that's the beauty, if you will, of the Eagles offense, is that Saquon, Saquon can put up 100, 120, 150 on you, depending on the matchup. But when you're facing a team that's saying, all right, you're not going to run against us, even though the Eagles like to say they can run on anybody, you have A.J. Brown, you have Devonta Smith. Like, this is such a well-constructed roster in that sense, because they can play all types of games. They can play ugly and gritty. They should be able to play track meet games like, that Packers game week 1 was. So that's you need to see how it looks in the playoffs. But man, this team is so hot right now, and they're so versatile. And the other part too, I wrote about the offense. I'm gonna have a follow-up story coming on some other elements. But the key to that game too is the defense holding the Steelers to 13 points. The key to that game is when the Eagles turned the ball over twice early in the game, the Steelers only get 3 points to show for it. So really, all around, just an impressive performance.
Yeah. Defensively, let's tackle a little defense, because that's what they did, was they wrapped, right? Like, they play. Zach Bond, man, he just every week just keeps you. He's so impressive, dude.
Exactly. And they don't want to give up those chunk plays, right? And so they're trying to keep you in front of them and tackle to the ground. And it only works if you tackle them to the ground. And earlier this year, the first few weeks of the season, in particular that Atlanta game, one of the things you heard inside is their tackling needs to improve. And so what do? They improve their tackling, and you aren't seeing as many missed tackles during the past 10 weeks of the season.
No, I mean, that was it. That was the story last year. The story last year, you remember, like, when they started to go south too, there was a lot of missed tackles. Like, that defense got riddled last year. Like, they won games like Miami and Baltimore, but that defense was leaky, right? Really leaky. And this one, well, you got Quignon and you got Cooper, you got Carter up front, and you got Zach Bond and the Kobe. Like, that's the complete difference. Those kids just make this defense way better, and really, they're one of the best units in the game.
Yeah, and if you've been spending 2 decades in Philly talking about the importance of linebackers, then this season is like your example for it, because there's that school of thought that, all right, well, if you have a front, you pressure the quarterback, you can take care of everything else. But what happens when the back has the ball? When the receiver,
I got one name for that. Simino.
Yeah. So I believe it starts up front. I believe in pressuring the quarterback. But this season shows how important it is to have that second level. That it's a 4-yard stop or a 6-yard stop as opposed to a 15-yard gain.
Hey, Zach, you made mention in your piece this morning about Jalen Hurts' quote, the grass will be green where you water it and the fruits of their labor. And you pointed out all this nature talk. Did you ever think you'd be in a locker room of an NFL team with a bunch of arborists talking about watering and flowers and grass?
Seriously, this is going on to 4 years now. I don't know a thing about gardening. I don't know a thing about botany, and I gotta look up all these. I mean, they certainly like those analogies, but it is coming to fruition in that regard. Yeah, I mean, Jalen deserved, or he earned the right to strut yesterday.
Mhm.
I think everything that was said going into the week about the passing game was merited. Frankly, the players in that locker room, AJ Brown included, said it needed to be said. But Jalen Hurts did take it as an opportunity to say, I had it all along, right? And that they have been, in his words, watering this, and you're seeing it come to fruition.
You know what's bizarre? It's like this happens, and it's like they'll blame the media.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second. Who? It was BG who said it out loud on the radio, right?
Yeah.
AJ said it after the game.
But it would have been nothing.
Right.
It would have flown by, and then BG came out.
Well,
and
what he
said they're
says,
not
though-
friends anymore, basically.
Yeah, you're right. But what makes it worse is when he goes, passing. He made it worse, BG, but still.
Yeah. So I'll defer to VG on this is VG, not BG, on all the musical questions. But at practice on Friday, they were playing "My Prerogative," was the song, and Jalen Hurts is saying, I'd like to prove people wrong. And I think the nuance in this is no one was saying the Eagles couldn't do this. That's, I think, was the frustrating thing here in the locker room and outside the locker room, is that they should be able to do this so well because they have the players. It's much harder. You're proving someone wrong if you're a team. If you're Nick Foles back in the playoffs in January 2018, and people are like, "Oh, the season's over," with you're not proving someone wrong. If you're the franchise quarterback with perhaps the best wide receiver combination in the NFL, what you're doing is proving the organization, the fan base, right? Like this is a group that's saying you should be proficient in the air. You should be able to have games like this. This shouldn't be the first time since 2022 that AJ Brown and Devonta Smith both have over 100 yards in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That right?
Yeah, and I think you're right too, because AJ Brown doubled down on it. Basically said, "I'm glad I said it. Like, we had to get our focus.
Yeah.
Like, basically, we had to get our focus right and get back to this a little bit." I appreciate that.
Exactly. He called it uncomfortable conversations. Devonta Smith said the same thing. I heard, when before I came on, Anthony talking about how in the workplace, you always have these kinds of things, and I think that's absolutely right. Like, uncomfortable conversations can be productive. I thought Lane Johnson put it well. Lane Johnson, when he talked about this past week, said, he kind of changes the channel when it's the Real Housewives of Philadelphia. He was kind of referring to the drama, but he said the way he could explain it is that brothers fight, right? And brothers fight, but then look, you come out and you beat the other team. So this wasn't nothing that happened during the week, but what you wanted to see is how they responded on Sunday. That's ultimately what matters, and they responded on Sunday.
Well, and now you go into it, and let's think about this, right? Like, the Lions are leaking oil. You lose yesterday, and they got decimated by injuries. You lose 3 more guys on that defense, 2 for the season, right? Like, that's a big deal.
Absolutely. And that's the way, and especially McNeil's so good. Carlton Davis is a good corner for them. Look, the Lions appear more vulnerable. Even if you want to get like ahead of yourselves, Patrick Mahomes goes down. This is a year when the 49ers are not the team that they were in the past. There's more opportunity this year for the Eagles if they stay healthy, if things break right, and going, the number 1 seed. This is within the realm of possibility. This is a reasonable conversation to have. I thought the Eagles were going to split against Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Those are 2 really tough teams.
Yeah.
The Eagles beat them both. Now they're in this situation here where I know Washington is a good team this year. I think even coming off a big win for the Eagles, they should go down to Washington and win. The Eagles can run the table here. Detroit's going to have a tougher time. It is entirely conceivable that the Eagles
Chicago,
get the 1 seed.
You got San Francisco, who could still bite you at some point. It's on the road.
Yeah.
And you got Minnesota. 3 tough games.
Exactly. So that's why I look at this and say what happened yesterday was so important, not just for the standings, but we've been talking about this for 4 weeks now. The Lions are a different team if they have to come into Philly. That game's a different game if the Eagles have to go up to Detroit. And so yeah, you don't want to get ahead of yourselves. I understand if I bring that up in the locker room, they would say
Yeah.
Washington, Washington, Washington. But for us having this conversation, the chance that one seed's a possibility changes so much for the Eagles.
Hey, who holds the tiebreaker, Eagles in Minnesota?
Well, so it would have if both teams run the table. My understanding is Minnesota would have the edge because there's certain like strength of schedule components to it, and common opponents, things of that nature. But I don't know if Minnesota's going to run the table either. Like if Minnesota's 15-2, we'll have that conversation. But I would be surprised if they go 15-2. I think Detroit's really the team that I'm paying attention to, but I don't have that answer locked down. I will check with Professor Selman on that one.
Yeah, I'm just curious because it may come down to
Minnesota's got Seattle, Green Bay.
They got Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that big one at the end.
They got the Bears.
And then Detroit.
Bears, Seattle,
I
Green
know they
Bay,
got Detroit.
and Detroit.
you know, Green.
Yeah.
If there's one team, Green Bay is a little scary.
Yeah, they look good last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they dominated last night. Couple things real quick, Zach. Injury wise, Dickerson, where's he at?
Yeah, we'll see there. I didn't get a chance to talk to Landon after the game. He was walking around. We'll get a better sense. My guess is they have a walkthrough Wednesday just because they're so beat up. But they should be. I don't have a firm answer on Dickerson yet. Saquon said it's minor. Said he's going to be fine. I saw Sidney Brown walking out of the locker room. He has the concussion, so he's in the protocol now. Mekhi Becton, he was in pain, but he was okay. Lane Johnson, Darius Slay, they both got dinged up. They were fine. Slay said he got cleated, so just had to kind of get cleaned up. And Lane went out for play. He was okay. Jalen Hurts has he confirmed broken left ring finger.
Yeah.
He says it affected him out there. Look, if it affected him out there, keep that finger broken because that was as well as he's played this year.
Yeah, he threw the ball when he was on the money. Everything was on the money.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Zachariah, fun times. What do you got? What's your day look like today?
Yeah, I'm gonna have one more story up from kind of notes from the locker room yesterday. Then Bo and I are in studio at 2:00 for the PHLY Eagles show. Talk to Nick Sirianni today at 3:15. So I'll have your updates then. And then I got a basketball game tonight. So that's how I'll let off some steam.
Oh, you play some hoop tonight? You're
Yeah,
hooping?
Monday night leagues. Yeah, Monday night leagues. So now that the Eagles are home,
Where do you play at?
I'll be out there. I play out at Wynwood.
Nice.
I'm in a league out there. Yeah, so looking forward to that.
Zachariah. Bold. I like it. All right, bag some threes for me.
I don't know about that, but I'll get some assists.
Here he is, point guard.
Talk to you guys
Scotty
soon.
Styles.
There you go. Talk to you soon.
See you, buddy. Hey, Zachariah, balling.
He looks like he'd be a pain in the butt on defense.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
just right glued
Yeah,
to you,
yeah,
harassing
yeah,
you. Like,
yeah,
this
yeah,
guy.
Yeah,
Zach
yeah.
Maxey. Love it.
Let's not talk about basketball.
Yeah, a little depressed there.
But what a horrible weekend. Broken face again, and McCain's knee.
Yeah.
Snake bitten franchise. This is the
Dude.
process coming back and biting them in the butt.
Dude, shut up. I can't. Don't stop. You don't need to kick me when I'm down about the process. All right. Right away, you want to kick me in the junk.
I'm just saying.
Nah, come on,
It's
man.
the truth.
The only reason why they are snake bitten, man. They
Yeah.
have bad luck. Oh my god.
Make sure you guys read Bodner's article he put out about the injury news. But he put out in the article that there's been 34 facial fractures in the NBA history. 3 of them by Joel Hansen.
That's outrageous.
That's insane.
Who gets his face broke more than Embiid?
I didn't even know you could break your sinus.
Me neither.
A fractured
That's a new one to me.
sinus.
That's unbelievable.
I'm really bummed about the lack of dances for the next 3 or 4 weeks on TikTok with
yeah.
McCain's knee.
Yeah.
Gotta rest the knee.
Real bummed about that one.
Yeah.
I do, but it's bad because listen, after the Super Bowl, we're gonna be looking around like, what do we got? Well, we got. Hope we need the Flyers to
Yeah,
make
need
the
the
playoffs,
Flyers
man.
to be in that position.
I do have to say the chat has been real red hot today, talking about possible Super Bowl matchup of The Eagles and Bills.
Yeah, well, that'd be outrageous.
Let's do it.
Could you imagine Eagle fans and Bills Mafia?
That'd be fantastic.
That's awesome.
Orleans
That's
not
a
ready for
clash
this.
of the Titans.
All the National Guards.
That's
with this
Gladiator
Oh,
Coliseum.
my God.
You got to separate the fans, man.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like, the real Vikings
Oh, that'd be
against
awesome.
the Roman Empire.
Yeah, they're jumping through tables. Did you see the guy yesterday at the tailgate on the bike who ran into a
Yes.
Christmas tree and tackled it?
Oh my God! Yesterday was insane. There was a bench press out there in the lots.
Are you
doing
serious?
Bench pressing.
Oh, my God.
They were on one last night.
That's the best. That is great. All right, we got our man from the Inquirer. Let's see what he's a terrific columnist. Let's see what Mike Sielski has to say about those birds. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Ant. Hey, guys. How are you?
Yo, Mike.
I got to tell you, man, I didn't see a flawless, dominating performance like that yesterday. That was a super statement.
It was. I was optimistic on the Eagles' behalf heading into the game just because I didn't see how the Steelers were going to score enough to win
Yeah, I had the same
against
kind
that
of feeling.
defense. I mean, their offense is so uncreative. I have a buddy of mine, the best man at my wedding is a Pittsburgh native, and I just got a slew of texts from him after this game last night, like, this is the problem with Tomlin. He beats up Tennessee and Jacksonville every year, and then they meet a real team, and they can't do anything offensively, et cetera, et cetera.
Like they haven't gotten the
Right.
OC right. I'm with you. Listen, they are unimaginative, but it's not like Russ is going to go downhill, darting you for 300 yards. You can't do that. Like there's got to be, that is what it is.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like I thought the Eagles would win. It would be Eagles and under, but I didn't expect that kind of performance. Like that Steelers defense is good.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, especially because the Eagles came out and did what everybody thought they were going to do, which was throw the ball to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, like from the jump, going empty a lot, kind of getting rid of some of the play action stuff that Hurts didn't seem particularly comfortable with. That's a rare thing, I feel like. They were everybody knew what they wanted to do coming into this game. It was like, okay, got to make the wide receivers happy. Jalen's got to play well, test game for everybody. And then they came out and did it relatively easily. I think it's a sign of how good they can be and are right now. I mean, I think they're the best team in the league. I think it's hard to argue otherwise, given the way the Bills defense can't really hold up.
Yeah, no, dude, I feel you.
Yeah, dude, Dev Milana in the chat. Imagine if Barkley caught that ball week 2.
It's the truth, man.
13-1.
Yeah, because that game
This is
against
historic.
Tampa, they didn't have half the team. So you could blow that off and say, okay, well, they lost because AJ wasn't there, Devontae wasn't there, this guy wasn't there, that guy wasn't there. You're 100% right. They could be 13-1 very easily.
But to your point, the way they executed, I was curious because you knew that Pittsburgh was going to sell out against the run because they could. They have a dominating front and they could sell out and say, go ahead, beat me. Go ahead, Jalen, beat me. And he was confident. He was in rhythm. The ball was out. He didn't hold on to it. I mean, he 25-32. He was accurate. I mean, there's a lot that he did well.
Yeah, and the two throws I liked the most were the 2 touchdown passes. The first to AJ, and then obviously the second one to Devontae, for 2 reasons. One, they were tight quarter throws, inside the 10-yard line. And 2, they were both off his back foot. Like they were, I got to get the ball out now.
Yeah.
Everything is not perfect, but I got to get it out. And for all the terrific stuff that Jalen can do with his feet, running the ball and being on the move, when he's in the pocket, sometimes he can be almost too mechanical, right? Like he's looking boom, 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 and it's very slow.
Yeah.
And in those moments, it's like, I got to get the ball out right now.
Yeah.
AJ's open in the back of the end zone, boom, get it. And if it's off my back foot, it's off my back foot. Both of those throws reminded me, if you go back in the Wayback Machine, the touchdown pass that Donovan McNabb threw in the Super Bowl to Brian Westbrook is like a top 3 all-time throw by McNabb, like off his back foot through 3 defenders. And both of those passes reminded me of that. It's just get the ball out now. And he did it.
That's great. You know what's a good point? It's an excellent point. It really is. So you got a best team in the league. And I look at it too and I go, all right, so let's think about this for a second. In the NFC, we know the Lions right now are reeling. Defensively, they're decimated. You got Green Bay playing good football. You got Minnesota still dangerous. But clearly the Eagles on both sides of the ball in the NFC are the most complete team, right? Like we're talking through this thing right now. Maybe the Packers, because their front is good, would be the next team.
Yeah, I would fear the Packers at this point a little bit more than the Lions, in part because of Jordan Love.
Yeah.
The kind of guy who can break the pocket, escape a Nolan Smith or a Jalen Carter and make a throw or a play that Jared Goff, quite frankly, can't make. And you're right, the Lions are so decimated defensively that it's hard to look at them right now going up against the Eagles and stopping Barkley and Brown and Smith and that whole offense. So
I mean,
the Packers.
I taped that, I DVR'd that game and went back and watched it. I mean, they had no chance stopping Buffalo. It was unbelievable. I mean, all they did was Ty Johnson, right? Like they knew they could cover Ty Johnson out of the backfield, and that was it. And that was it's amazing. If Allen got out of the pocket, they were dead.
Yeah, and a lot of teams are going to be dead when Josh Allen gets out of the pocket for sure. The guy's probably going to be the MVP this season. But by the same token, Detroit was shutting that down earlier this season. And now they're at the stage where they're signing guys off the street to try to cover Ty Johnson out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. So the calculus and the dynamic within the conference has changed a lot, I think, because the Lions are so beat up. Now you look at them and you say, okay, the last couple of games at Ford Field, they're not wiping teams off the map here. They got beat by Buffalo. They struggled against the Bears. They struggled against the Packers.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't love the idea, if I'm an Eagles fan, of the Packers being like the 6th or 7th seed and you have to face them right away. That's a tough draw if you're the Eagles, but you got to feel good about their chances one way or another.
Yeah. No, I'm completely with you. Hey, let's look at their defense because, like we talk about, we spend so much time AJ dynamic and the whole thing. The defense, my God, Mike, it's like Carter is a wrecking crew. Nolan Smith, they're thin on the edge, and they continue to play dominant. I mean, Zach Bourne just racks up tackles. I'm so impressed with defense. I'm trying to think about this. Like, you and I are contemporaries, right? Like,
sure.
Like, think about this for a second. When have you seen a defense as dominant as this one? I mean, you got to go back to the Jim Johnson, clearly.
Yeah, you got to go back to 2001, 2002, when they had that incredible secondary with Doc and Troy and Bobby, and they had Hugh on the edge and Trott in the middle, and there wasn't a weakness anywhere, right? And the same holds true right now. Vaughn is all over the place, and look, Jalen Carter can be a knucklehead sometimes, and he was last night and almost cost them dearly. But he's such a good player. I mean, he's so disruptive in the middle there. And then, like you said, you have these young guys in the secondary. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell, he must lead the NFL in ratio of quality of play to fewest number of times his name is called in a game. Because nobody throws at him. Nobody talks about him because nobody throws at him. And when they do, he either breaks it up or makes the tackle for short of the first down. And it's crazy, how good they've gotten this fast. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, about how Howie remade this defense so quickly. And I think it's a big part of the reason that the whole, whatever you want to call it, of the last week, the A.J. Jalen stuff was able to be quelched. It wasn't just that. Some of it was, I don't think it was nothing, but it didn't become a mountain It stayed
Go ahead.
a molehill, and
Yeah.
part of it was because they're so settled defensively that there was no sense of like, oh, this thing could really spiral
right
out of
on.
control because our defense can't stop anybody.
He's right on.
Yeah.
No, but go ahead, because you believe it played a bigger part in the game and stuff. Go ahead. Like,
Just in the beginning series. That's all. I just thought.
no, I'm not saying it in a. Go explore it.
No, I just think it has something to do with it.
So,
man.
Mike, VG was like, listen, that the AJ Jalen thing had a lot to do with what we saw yesterday.
I didn't say a lot. I
Oh,
just
whatever.
it influenced the way they came out in the first series. Because
you forget about the influence and stuff, but
Yeah.
you're basically saying that it was there.
it was in
right?
their
Like,
minds.
What do you?
Oh,
What's your opinion?
Yeah,
on
I don't have any doubt about that, right? Like AJ talked about, they had difficult meetings during the week and talking about, getting him and Devontae the ball. And, I think that was the thing that most bothered me, so to speak, about the whole situation was the idea that it was laid all on AJ, because AJ wasn't the only one who not only felt the way he did, but who spoke out about it. Devontae felt exactly the same way and said pretty much the same things that AJ said, that it's not about like, give me the ball or I'm going to be doing stomach crunches in your driveway.
Right.
It is get us the ball because we are open and the offense will be better if you get us the ball when you're supposed to get us the ball. And that's exactly what happened early on. Of course, it was on their minds. And the amazing thing was the plays were there to be made again. And I think once Jalen saw that, like, boom, I can hit AJ on these crossers. I'm getting, Devontae's open in the flat. It kind of rolled from there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
I
true.
want to touch back on Quinion. He not only was he quick to defend Slay in the scrum, targeted 3 times yesterday, 2 catches allowed 25 yards, 0 touchdowns, 10th straight game allowing under 30 yards.
You can't, to your point, Mike, you can't quantify what he does with any kind of number. You're going to have to create like almost a win-loss on every play through tape, right? Like he had 49 out of 49 wins, 49 out of 51 wins. It's unbelievable, like when you think about it.
It is. And it's such a luxury for a defensive coordinator to have a guy like that he doesn't have to worry about. I've probably said this to you guys before. When I was up in New York covering the Jets, Rex Ryan and Mike Pettin Jr. used to talk about Darrelle Revis in exactly this way. Like you can't understand until you watch the tape how much it helps us that we don't have to worry about the receiver that he's covering. It allows us to do so many other things with the other 10 guys on the field. And it looks like Mitchell gives Fangio exactly the same sort of freedom to be able to play with the other 10 guys.
Yeah, it's so true, man. Hey, let's talk about Sirianni, all right? Because, all the drama of the week and the head coach, the CEO coach, kept this thing at bay. Like he made sure that they came in with focus.
I give Nick a ton of credit for this. It's rare that you find a coach or an athlete, and I think he's done this. I don't know for certain, but based on the way he's carried himself publicly over the last 10 weeks, I have to think he has, who looks inside himself and says, you know what? I got to be better. I got to be a little bit different. Watch him in his interactions with the media. He is not pumping his, slapping his chest, puffing his chest. He's not talking smack in these post-game press conferences. The persona he gave off in the first 4 weeks is not the same one that he's giving off over these last 9 or 10. And you have to give him a ton of credit for that. And I think you're 100% right, Anthony. I think at his core, and I asked him this after the game last night, I think there was a part of him that kind of liked the fact that this stuff was going on. If you're a coach, like, there has to be a part of you that like lives for okay, this is my challenge this week. I gotta hold these guys together. This is why I'm here. And especially a guy like Nick, who has admitted,
plays. Yeah,
he ceded control of the offense to Kellen Moore. He obviously doesn't have control of the defense with Vic Fangio. He has said he's doing less, but this is an opportunity for him to kind of reassert himself. And by all accounts, he did a great job.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like, you wonder so much of coaching is leadership and everything like that. But the offense, like either you're one side of the ball, right? Like head coaches coming from defense will still call the defenses. Like you feel like your fingerprints are on the game. And being this way, I'm sure, like even last year, he wasn't calling plays, but he was involved. And now he's not involved. So I think you're spot on. I think he's like, all right, this is where I can actually roll my sleeves up and have something to do with this game.
What's the phrase that Jeffrey Lurie said he wanted in a head coach? Emotional intelligence.
EQ, baby.
Yeah, and Nick seems to have that. And look, I was skeptical for a while, especially in the aftermath of that Browns game, because I just thought he was missing. He was off script. He was missing the plot here. Like, dude, you can't do that with your kids after the game. You can't be mowing to fans during the game. But he has buttoned that aspect up ever since.
Yeah.
And they are a better team for it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go last thing in perspective. All right, 10 in a row. I mean, Mike, I think about this. It's called about a stretch of dominance. I go back to, like, Andy had a couple of runs, like in 2003, the year they lost to Carolina in the championship game. They got off to a slow start, and then they rolled. Like, they beat the Packers, who were the best team in the conference at the time. And, like, they were pretty dominant. But, like, other than that, 04, of course, but really, I don't remember a period of this kind of dominance. 10 in a row. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, not to 10 in a row. The middle of that 2017 season, when Wentz was kind of at the top of his game, that they went through a stretch there where they were nobody had a chance against them.
Yeah.
It's funny you said this, Ed, because I was thinking about this last night. The analogy I thought of only kind of partially involved the Eagles, and you got to go in the Wayback Machine for this. I thought of the 1994 49ers, because that was the team that lost to the Eagles 40-8, the Charlie Gardner game.
Yes.
And that game totally turned their season around.
Yeah.
The 49ers. If you had come out of that game saying one of these teams is going to the Super Bowl, you'd have said the Eagles.
Sure.
And then but the 49ers went on a run of absolute dominance from that point on. And they beat the Cowboys in the championship game and then won the Super Bowl. And I wonder if the Eagles needed something like that early in this season. Like, they get their doors, they lose a game they should win to the Falcons. They get their doors blown off with all these injuries to the Bucs. They barely beat the Browns, who were terrible. And then, boom, it clicks. They've hit their adversity and it clicks. I think it's kind of scary, man, in terms of what they can do. I know we're so cynical.
That way, they're unbeatable. Like they just
we're so cynical around here. We're always like looking to the sky for the anvil or the safe that's going to fall on everyone's head. Yeah, but man, they're really good, and they're really good all over. And that's the thing, man. So enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. The ride is always the most fun part.
It is, dude. You and I see a lot alike, man. I love it, Mike. Your stuff is great. Everybody's got to read Mike. He's the best. And by the way, enjoy it, because after the Eagles, you got the Sixers.
You got the nation's leading scorer in Eric Dixon. Can we rally around that?
Oh my God! The
guy's averaging 25 a game, which I think is his age at the same.
Oh my gosh!
It's going to be bleak, man. Matvey Michkov and Eric Dixon. That's what it's going to be.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Thank you, Mike. You're the best, bud. We love you.
All right. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Mike Sielski.
And Dan Orlovsky putting this up about Josh Allen. 400 yards, the last two games, 400 yards of total offense, 4 touchdowns, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles. First person to ever do that in the history of football.
Wow.
0 sacks, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles.
Yeah, he's MVP.
Put up 400 yards.
Clear cut.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, he's been first of all, he's the quarterback having a ridiculous year. So, of course, he's going to be the MVP. All right, time to pay some bills, talk about our partners, shall we? I want to do that. Let's talk about the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app. Yeah, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We got to love it.
I got breaking news on the betting world.
You do? What do you
yeah.
got? What do you got, buddy?
Quinyon Mitchell is now your favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He
Let's
overtook
go.
Jared Verse this week.
Wow.
Oh, I love
He's
it.
plus
Should've taken
110.
that
Jared
early.
Verse plus 150.
We know how we love
About
those
time.
kids, man. He's the best. Hey, don't forget the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. All right? We got a couple games tonight. Double header tonight. I don't know why in the world they're not staggering them.
I hate it when they're not
I
stacked.
hate it too. You start one game at 8, the other game at 8:30. I know it's the Falcons and the Raiders. Like, that's a slop game.
Yeah.
But I'd watch it. All right? No joke. I'd watch it.
Maybe your boy
But-
Penix gets
And
in.
you can bet it. What's that?
Maybe your boy Penix
I know.
gets
I'm
in.
hoping that Mike Penix plays.
He should.
All right. And plus, we'll get to watch a little Minnesota. Like, to me, I'm scout mode.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching Minnesota and the Bears. You can bet on it. You can bet on just more than just the score. It is the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Make sure you download it. Play all the player props. You got all the casino games like VG likes the Baccarat.
Mm-hmm.
You like
Baccarat, live crabs. I'm in.
You got it all the
Yeah.
slots you want. I mean, it's all there. It is the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app. Make sure you get it. All right.
I'm in here now, too. There's no brain. Give a little Bet Parks
Oh, you got a
trash man
trash pick?
action. Yeah.
Give it to me. Track
Grand Canyon, 6-3 on the road against Louisiana Tech, who's 9-2.
Trash man.
Trash man.
Take Grand Canyon minus 2.5 tonight.
All right, Grand Canyon. They're out of Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right?
What are they? The Antelopes? Yeah, they're
The Antelopes. The Antelopes run.
Where the Deers and the Antelope play.
Yes, that's right. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Ohio, Maryland. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER, the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. All right. Also, let's talk about our friends from Rothman. By the way, that was so interesting on Friday. Every Friday we do our Rothman docs, and we talked about concussions and the role and how much advancement are they making in concussions.
Yeah, it's fascinating talk.
It really was. They're incredible at Rothman. You got joints aching, you got hands cramping, you got back out of whack. Rothman's got you. And Rothman Orthopedics, practicing specialized care, has been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research. Research leading to new treatments, better outcomes. Each Rothman doc is laser focused on their specialty. Hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right in your backyard. So you can go on the driveway and cross over that defense and run those out routes, whatever you want to do. They're Rothman Orthopedics. They specialize in you. And for more than 50 years, Rothman has participated in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials. The goal, advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefit of their patients. Rothman Orthopedics specialize in orthopedics, and you visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to learn more and to make an appointment today.
We're going to have a lot of injuries to talk about this week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. We go through the Lions.
Yeah. Just do the whole team.
Yeah. This portion of the show brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com to find the store nearest you. All right. We got our, what do we got?
We got a Fran Duffy, little Franny Films coming up.
Is he there?
Oh, he's here, yeah.
I'm
Just waiting for
dying to
you.
talk to our man, Franny Films. Franny!
Guys, what's happening?
What do you say, buddy?
It's a beautiful. I know it's rainy outside, but it's a beautiful morning in Philadelphia. After a huge win and obviously a Lions loss, things are looking bright right now.
Rainy inside, too.
Indoors and out, rain.
Dude, we have a leak in our studio, Fran. And it's leaking. And there's what, like the rug is sopping wet.
Sitting in a puddle.
Freezing in here, too.
Well, at least we have an elevator. We're back. We're able to get up there. We're able to get upstairs now.
Elevator saved us.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, yesterday's win was a thing of ridiculous beauty. It was, let's examine it, right? The Steelers say, we're going to sell out against the run. Saquon's not going to beat us. And that was their thing. And the Eagles dialed it up. And Jalen answered the question. Listen, I had that question, and he showed it. He answered it.
So for me, right, I wrote a lot of words last week in my piece on PHLY.com for the diehards about Jalen Hurts and his struggles with the pass game over the last month. And I would say, like, if you were to narrow that piece down and say this is the thesis of the statement, the thesis was Jalen Hurts is holding onto the ball longer than any quarterback, and on the plays when he holds the ball for long, things get worse. The longer he holds onto the ball, the worse things get. And so what happens here in this game? He comes out, and the coaching staff did an outstanding job of creating plays where the ball was going to come out fast. And I went through the numbers after the post-game show yesterday. So Jalen Hurts was 12 of 13 for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half.
That's unbelievable.
Slow. The first half of this game, he's 12 for 13, 146, 2 touchdowns. That's outstanding. His average time to throw at 2.6 seconds flat.
Nice.
That was his fastest average time to throw in any half of any game this season. So when you talk about, okay, what did they do to correct this past week? They said, okay, we're going to create situations where the ball's going to come out fast. Jalen came out and he executed. They played more empty than what we've seen this year. And that's going to be a thing where, hey, you know what? We're going to spread the defense out, give information to Jalen Hurts so he can kind of read the coverage before the snap and get the ball out fast. And credit to Jalen for just embracing that, taking the coaching and going out and executing. It was a really well executed game plan, especially in the first half of that game.
Oh, a little play action too. Touchdown. What do you know?
Who was talking about that last week?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody on my right.
Oh, my God. Listen, one of the things, too, is, like, he can make that slant. That throw on the slant, that's a throw he can make. And he's done that before. And I think you're spot on. Like, the job that Kellen Moore did with him was spectacular. It's like, all right, this is the throw. We're going to give you quick reads, quick throws that you can make. Right on, and he just was right on the money. I mean, you don't go 25 to 32 without doing that.
No, and it was not a perfect game for Jalen, right? There were still, he got sacked 3 times, and honestly, a couple of those scrambles you would probably put down as sacks because he kind of fell forward, and there were plays where, all right, he got a little skittish in the pocket, or maybe the ball should have come out, but at the end of the day, like, he was so efficient in the rest of those dropbacks that he was able to overcome those things, and you're not asking Jalen to be perfect, you're asking him to, hey, when it's 3rd and 6,
you're
right.
It's
3rd and 8. When it's a pass down, when it's a blitz down, which he carved up the blitz in this game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did a great job against man coverage against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was able to feed both of those targets. It wasn't a big Saquon game. When your number's called, can you make those plays? I think he showed that yesterday. That's the thing, is it doesn't need to be all on Jalen's shoulders. That's not what we're asking at this point. It's about efficiency, and when your number's called, being able to create those explosives, take what the defense has given you, and that's what he did in this game.
Yeah, dude, I'm completely with you, man. Like, what he was able to do, and to your point, yeah, I don't care. I'm not like you said about asking him to be perfect. Like, listen, he's still going to he's still going to hold on the ball a little bit and whatever, take a sack. As long as you're getting the ball out for the majority of the time, and that's all I care about, because they can win that way, right? Like, as long if they come and try to take Saquon away, because not everybody can try to take Saquon away, right? Pittsburgh's front is such that they can do that. There's not a lot of teams out there that can take Saquon Barkley away from you.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like some of the message and some of the discourse last week kind of got misconstrued, right? Where there was a portion of the fan base were like, oh, well, they need to run the ball. The discussion, the argument is not that they should be passing more, right? It's more that they need to be better at passing when they pass. That was the discussion. That was the issue that was being discussed last week. So it wasn't, oh, he needs to throw for more yards. It's that when his number's called, you got to go out and execute. And in this game, again, he wasn't flawless, but he was outstanding. It was one of his best games that we've seen this season. His success rate was better than any game this season. His EPA per dropback was better than any game this season. So when you talk about efficiency, you talk about putting the ball in his playmakers' hands, targeting those guys, AJ, Devonta, it was their most productive game together that we've seen in 2 years. So just really, I mean, you couldn't have asked for more from this past game against, again, the best defense they've faced this season. This wasn't against the Panthers. It's not against the Giants, not against one of the worst defenses in football. That's a really good defense, and they were were able to go out and execute in that way, that gives you a lot of confidence going into this postseason. And I know Zach wrote about this yesterday. Zach Berman talking with Lane Johnson and other guys in the locker room about this being a measuring stick game and how much they weigh those kind of performances against a defense like Pittsburgh. That's a huge boost for this team going down the stretch, because they're not going to see a defense like this the rest of the way.
No, and that's it. Like, to your point, you have that kind of performance. You got swag now. Now you come in and you got swag going into the playoffs. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Look, there's 3 games left, and all of them against the NFC East. Look, if they're not perfect down the stretch going into the postseason, obviously we're going to talk about it, right? And it will be discussed. But when they get into crunch time, when they're going into game week, and whether they're the 1 seed or the 2 seed, no matter who you're prepping for that first postseason game, it's going to be at home at Lincoln Financial Field. Whoever's coming to the Link, you're saying, all right, when's the last time we went up against a playoff caliber team? It was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What did we look like? Hey, against the Baltimore Ravens, what did we look like? And that's what they're going to kind of lean back on as they prep for those games.
All right, let's look defense for a second, all right? Because once again, this defense is ridiculous. We were talking about Mitchell, and it's amazing. He just locks down the side. It's the same thing with Revis. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, too, is that, and this is something that I was going through some of the numbers last night after the show, just kind of looking at both Quinyon and at Slay. I think Slay is also having a really strong year, too. That's the thing is when you look at both these corners, they're both playing really, really well. Tom Brady on the broadcast yesterday, they showed a lot of really good replays on some of those third downs, some of those money down stops for the Eagles in the first half. And basically what you saw was the Pittsburgh Steelers, they come out in a 3-by-1 set, and the Eagles, they're always going to start in that 2-high look, so 2 high safeties. They were taking that safety and sliding him over to the extra side. So basically saying, all right, whoever's on the boundary side, whichever corner's over there, whether it's Slay or Quinyon, we're fine leaving them on an island one-on-one and letting them go win. Now, in a matchup here against Pittsburgh, they're down George Pickens. You would expect that, right? But that's the thing is when you have that faith, that level of confidence in Slay and in Quinyon, that gives you a lot of flexibility as a defensive coordinator to divert those extra sets of eyes, those extra set of hands elsewhere in the coverage and say, okay, we're going to play 4 over 3 over to the other side. And Vic Fangio just playing a numbers game at that point.
Yeah, no, so true. Meanwhile, Zach Bond just keeps tackling. That's it. Just keeps tackling, Zach. It's amazing. Dude, that story is one of the great stories of the season.
Yeah, when you look at a guy, that's talent identification, that's scheme adaptation, that's scouting at its finest, and that's a lot of that. Obviously, a lot of that goes to Vic Fangio, but to the pro scouting department as well, and just identifying Zach Bond, saying, hey, this is a guy that we feel we can come in. This is the role he's going to play for us. I know he hasn't done it in college. I know he hasn't done it in the NFL, but here in this scheme, we have confidence that he can come out and play this role, and he's doing it at such a high level. Even the flea flicker downfield, he gives up the catch against Calvin Austin, who, he's 5'9", 165, but he can run a 4.3. The coverage on that play was about as good as you can ask a linebacker to play on that on that rep. And so I think what we're seeing from Zach Bond, he's playing like one of the best linebackers in football right now.
I think Nakobe had a good game too. I saw him flying around. He was making tackles everywhere too.
Look, this defense, the fourth quarter, obviously they're non-existent, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers ran 11 plays in the second half. Our friend Sheil Kapadia. Insane, right? So insane, and that's obviously the offense just swallowing the football and just completely strangling that Pittsburgh defense. But they get 11 plays in the second half. And then when you talk about what they did in the first quarter of this game, 5 drives, 0 first downs, 0.2 yards per play on the first 5 possessions for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They could not do anything. And we talked about this on Friday. We said, look, this is a matchup I feel really good about this Eagles defense going into this game, just because this scheme for Pittsburgh, it's tailor-made to just fail against what Fangio is doing, especially without Pickens. You just didn't have that X factor outside the numbers, and they came through and they just beat down on this team.
And we had talked to you, had said this was a 3-gummy game going in, and it was because it was boring. The second half, the Eagles defense made this game kind of boring because the Steelers couldn't do anything.
The Eagles are the first team since 2009 to limit their opponent to only 2 drives in the second half.
The first team in all of football, not just the first Eagles team, right?
No, all football.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's ridiculous. Right?
And just insane stat. And look, a lot of that is, offensively to run a 22-play drive to suck 10.5 minutes off the clock. Mike Tomlin makes that decision to punt from plus territory early in the fourth quarter and then never sees the ball again.
No.
And that's, offensive efficiency at its finest.
Now, I will say the one thing about the Steelers, and it's why we like. Now, I thought the Eagles would win. It was Eagles and under, was what we said.
Yep,
I thought it would be
that's
close.
how I felt too.
Right? Like
Yep.
you knew it would be under. But, man, God, the Steeler offense is unimaginative. Oh, it's putrid.
They just don't. They don't have enough talent right now to be able to say, because that's the thing. Is like Arthur Smith when he was in Tennessee and that offense was humming. Think about the pieces they had. They had AJ. They had Derrick Henry. Right. Then basically it was just built through those guys and said we're just going to will our way to victory. We're just going to bleed you.
I don't even like Najee. Najee's not good. Like for a big back, he just he's not Nick Chubb. Right? He's not that guy. Like when Nick Chubb is rolling and healthy, like Najee's not that.
He had some flashes, but he's been beaten up over the last few years. Their offensive line's been terrible. I think he's lost a step.
He looks molasses. He looks slow. Like Warren, a little bit, but like he's not, Warren's not, you go, oh my God.
No, he looks flashier because of Najee.
Yeah.
Warren, I made the comparison on Friday with you guys. Warren's kind of like a Gainwell, and it turns out Gainwell had a huge game here in this one. But I feel like
we beat him up here.
Kind of
Props to Kenny yesterday. Nice game. And the passing game, he looked great.
Yeah, and part of that, they did, some of that empty sets again, where Jalen Hurts is in the backfield by himself, and just being able to move those running backs around. That obviously Saquon has that versatility, but Kenny's got that too. He caught that shallow cross on third and long, and he took it for 16 yards, got them onto the goal line. And that's good design, but then also just really good execution from Jalen and that entire group.
Yeah.
That Paisan Calcaterra still flashing on the old 22.
And look, he came out. He ran a really nice route, that double move, first play of the game. It gets them down 20+ yards. Against the linebacker. That was another empty set, VG. Where he basically the benefit of going empty, right, is where all right, we're going to get everybody. We're spreading everybody out. Jalen's in the backfield by himself. And the way I've kind of described it in the past is that's a way to inject truth serum into the defense. You can't disguise your coverage this way, because if you've got Kenny Gainwell lined up out wide, if you've got Devonta Smith lined up as your number 3 receiver and AJ Brown lined up in the slot, if you've got linebackers over the receivers and you've got corners over the running backs out wide, all right, that's an immediate tell. You're playing some form of zone coverage. And now so the quarterback can say, all right, this is the kind of coverage I'm going to see. If the corners are inside and linebackers are outside against the running backs, all right, this is going to be man-to-man. And so now I know exactly what route I'm going to go to here against man-to-man. And so we saw that a number of times in this game. They ran more empty than we've seen from this Eagles offense here this game. And I thought that was a really good tool to give Jalen Hurts that information to get the ball out fast.
Yeah, I did too. It just made a lot of sense, because it also it allows him to identify it quickly and then just get the ball out. And, it works. So now let's look at the rest of the league, Franny. During the driver's seat, obviously, you look at Detroit. We talk about it all morning. They're banged up. They lose 3 more defensive players, dude. 2 for the season. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and this was a group that could not afford any more, because they were already down. They were starting to get some of these guys back, so that was the reinforcements were helping. But obviously, if you're an Eagles fan, you love it. As a fan of the game, as someone who I'd love to see these guys go head to head. I'd love to see a full strength Lions team going up against a full strength Eagles team.
Sure.
It sucks. You hate to see that group. Now, what they've done over the course of this season, as they've been losing these players, they're plugging in players that we haven't heard of. Guys, and I watched 300 players a year from college coming into the NFL. By this point, I've watched most players in the NFL when they were in college, or at least if I didn't study them, had a good idea of all right, he went to this school. This was the book on him. They're plugging in guys. I'm I have no idea who this player is. I've never heard of this guy. They've got Nowoski playing off the edge. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
No, a lot of guys off the street. I mean, they're signing guys off practice squads. They're so thin. I've never seen a team get hit like this.
But that's the thing, though, is that they're bringing these guys in and they're still playing the way that they want to play, and they're still executing at a pretty high level. I know they gave up a lot of points yesterday to Buffalo, but they're going out and they're still playing a lot of man coverage. They're giving those funky looks from a pressure standpoint. They're going to come out and play the way they want to play. So credit their scouting department, their coaching staff, just for getting those guys ready and prepped. But at some point, like, that well's going to run dry. Like, you're not going to be hitting on all cylinders with those deep level reserves. They lose Carlton Davis and Lee McNeil yesterday. After you lose Aiden Hutchinson for the year, I mean, those were two of probably like their three best defensive players.
I know.
They're hoping to get Anzalone back, their linebacker, here in a couple weeks, but it's running thin now defensively in Detroit.
No, McNeil's a big deal, man, and it's true. You lose. I mean, how many corners can you possibly? Carl Davis is his concussion. Like, wow, they just got crushed. And it's interesting because, like, they didn't have a prayer to stop Buffalo. The only thing I thought could stop Buffalo, and I just rewatched the game, and I didn't go into any tape or anything. I just kind of rewatched it after the Eagles game. And the only thing I thought was I didn't like Campbell doing an onside kick. I'm thinking the only way you could stop them is if somehow you got momentum, right? So they had cut the lead to 10. And I'm thinking you got to ride the momentum and hope you get a stop. But every time Josh Allen got out of the pocket, they were dead.
Yeah, I mean, I know you, VG, you were sharing the numbers there on Josh Allen the last couple games. I mean, he's playing out of his mind right now. He's always been an MVP candidate. Like, the last few years, he would come up number 2, number 3 in the final listings. He's almost certainly going to win it this year, and he deserves it. I mean, he's playing out of his mind, and so he's going to be tough to stop. So I think when you get into Campbell in that situation, he's probably like, all right, at some point, I got to try and steal possession somehow.
Right.
And with what that defense had given up to that point, especially after the injuries, I could see why he took the gamble. But yeah, it was almost a lose-lose in that spot.
Yeah, I just don't do it there.
No, I'm looking at the landscape. I'm on Bet Parks. The odds for the NFC winner has changed. Eagles are now tied with the Lions at plus 200, and they're also tied with the Lions for second for Super Bowl odds at plus 450, with the Bills at plus 400.
Wow.
Look at that. They are.
People paying attention. The odds makers paying attention yesterday.
Who are you looking at? If not the Lions, is it the Packers? Who you would have the most? Because I look at their front. Their front's playing well.
Yeah, I would say the Packers and the NFC. I think those are the three teams that I would have earmarked as the Eagles, the Lions, and the Packers as the possible Super Bowl contenders and the representatives from that conference. I think when you look at Green Bay, offensively they can beat you in a lot of different ways, and that's the thing is when you look at Detroit and you say, all right, like that pass game, the way that it's schemed up, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goff goes out and he executes and he can carve you up. You look at this pass game with the Packers. Jordan Love, he's got as big of an arm as anybody in football. They've got those a wide variety of pass catchers that could serve all these different roles. Christian Watson, big height, weight, speed guy, can stretch the field. Jaden Reed, get him the ball in his hands and let him create yards after catch. A lot of gadgety stuff with him. Romeo Doubs, a nice possession receiver outside the numbers. And then you have Dontavian Wicks, nice possession receiver who can get open and get you some of that dirty yardage. Then you pair that with that run game and Josh Jacobs and what he's done. It's an offense that can be very difficult with a defense that is very opportunistic. You talk about Pittsburgh in terms of what they've done in creating those turnovers. That's been Green Bay for the majority of this year as well. And a lot of that has been some of the additions they made here this offseason. But I think when you look at that group, they're playing fast. I think that they're still trying to figure things out in the secondary in terms of that second cornerback spot opposite Jair Alexander. But ultimately, that's a defense that can give you trouble just because of that ability to take the ball away. Yeah,
it was curious because I was curious. Last night, the game gets out of hand because Geno Smith gets hurt. So they were starting to move the ball a little bit. They had gotten a couple stops. Their defense had been playing better. And they were driving when he gets hurt, when he hurt the knee. So I was curious because, once he leaves the game, you have no chance.
Yeah, if you could protect against that Green Bay defense, like you can find spots there. You can find soft spots in that back seven. And they've put some assets into that defense. It feels like every year there's like first round pick. They are constantly pumping high value assets into that side of the ball. But if I were to take those three teams and stack the units in terms of like offense, defense for all six. So for Detroit, for the Eagles and the Packers, I would say the weakest would probably be that Packers defense. Now we'll see what happens here from a Detroit injury standpoint, but I would say like everything healthy, all things being equal that way, I would put the Packers defense at the low mark on that list, but they're volatile because of that ability to take the ball away. And that's the thing that can kind of set them apart.
Franny, is there any talk about Aiden Hutchinson coming back this year? I mean, I saw something, but do you think that's any reality?
It was like one of those things where if they make it to the Super Bowl, maybe he can, kind of gut it out that way. But I don't think they were expecting anything before that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Franny, great stuff, buddy. Listen, this is a fun time in Philadelphia now. This is what it is.
It's what we live for, right? This is this is what I think Eagles fans, you can't take this for granted just because the run that this team has been on for the last few years. I mean, it's unprecedented success, and they'll just got to keep it rolling, and we'll see if they're able to do that.
I love it. Franny, great stuff as always, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
See you guys.
Films. Franny Films. You got to check him out. His breakdowns are
It's
sick.
unlike anything.
Gotta be diehard.
Wait till you see the draft. His draft coverage? Oh my!
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Be the first year for him here. with
Yeah,
us.
pretty incredible. His
awesome.
draft stuff, I know what he's working on. It's really, really good. Let's talk about some of our friends. All right. Uncle Frank. I took 2 gummies. Franny let it rip. Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank on
The
gummies.
Uncle Frank
I love
gummy,
it.
man.
He's the best.
That's like a double hit.
He's the greatest. He is. Let's talk Parks Casino, fellas, shall we? Street Road Bend, Salem. Here we go, the lineup. I got to pull it up here. And I'm going to give you the lineup at Parks Casino. I know you're ready for that. Because my boys like to sing. Here we go.
We love it.
I know you guys do. It's kind of one of my favorite times of the show. Here, I tell you about the Excite Center. I tell you about giving the gift of entertainment, high-end comedy, musical acts. It's right there at Parks Casino. And then you got, you hang out at the Excite Center to see your show, but you got the Parks Grill Steakhouse, the Bamboo Noodle House. I was there the other night.
Yeah, man.
Had the wonton with the noodles.
Ooh, spicy noodle?
It was tremendous. I got them to give me 3 hot oils.
Oh, man. 3 hot oils.
Yeah, I do the 3 triple.
Get out of town.
I do the
3
triple.
different oils or the same
The
oil?
same hot oil.
This
3
is, yeah,
times.
he just needed
Like
the
they
whole
bring
bottle.
one.
Like it's 4
comes like a
For the
espresso,
soup.
4
It's-
espresso
right.
coffees,
Calls
3
it
oil
Yeah.
noodles.
Yeah. I want the soup to be red.
Give me 3 oils.
I've seen your red soup.
I want the red soup. I don't want anything unless the soup is red. All right?
I'm with you on the red soup. It's
With
good.
heat. The red soup is delicious.
Yeah.
The blood soup. All right. Here we go. SNL's Colin Jost returns 2 nights. Parks Casino, March 14th and 15th.
Hey, Scarlett, you were great in Everyone Buys a Zoo, or whatever that movie was.
Country artist Cole Swindell, February 7th.
Heads Carolina, tails California.
January 18th, the reggae sounds of Shaggy.
But you caught me on the counter.
Wasn't me.
January 24th, actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Whoa, Larry. Whoa, hey, Larry. Whoa.
February 8th, Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains.
I'm the man in the box.
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Hey, how'd you know I guessed number 7?
Country star Lee Bryce, March 22nd.
There's a rumor going around about me and you.
Now, Joey, you're a country guy. You know this? You know Lee Bryce Harper? Yeah?
He was
you know
singing
Greg
it.
Swindell?
Cole Swindell.
Oh, Greg Swindell is he was a pitcher for the Indians.
Yes, he was.
Swindell. He was singing it the other morning. He came in here singing.
You knew about
I got a rumor going around about me and you.
Unbelievable. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Also, let's talk about Golden Nugget Jewelers. TikTok.
TikTok.
No,
Engagement
Jared
season
McCain.
don't stop.
No, it does. But also, Christmas is around the corner.
Is it? Yeah.
All right, so Christmas is coming up. So that means you got to get a gift.
9 days.
Like JP's already married. Now he just got married.
Buy
Like
me a
if you're
gift.
looking for a gift, you got to go see your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers.
Yeah, don't forget mom. Mom might like a bracelet or something, you know.
Your mom,
Yeah.
diamond earrings,
Yeah.
Earrings,
pendant.
necklace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Got a favorite bartender at the pub, brighten the day, you know, give a little jewelry.
That's a little- that might be a little too much.
That's something you would
I'll
do.
do
That's a
anything
good
for some
move.
free shots of
I know
Jägermeister.
you
That might
Give
be
out
too
some
much for the
jewelry.
bartender, but
No, you never know. Listen,
that's a nice gift.
If you got it, you know, hey, God bless.
Your Rose got stuff for all budgets.
Yes, that's true. And also when it comes to the engagement ring, your own will work with you, make sure that it's all done the right way and you're happy and you feel great. All you have to worry about is how and when you pop the question, right? That's all you got to worry about. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged, located right on 8th and Chestnut in the heart of Jewelers Row, Center City. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. All right. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. You know what it's time for?
Well, the chat says it's time for some love for Jake Elliott, maybe.
You know what?
He does deserve
Shower.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Came back strong.
Chat, good job, chat.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty of not taking care of the kickers. Because the only time I mention a kicker is when they're bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you disdain for the position.
No, it's important. Like, so I don't have disdain for it, but like you're right. It's not on the front lobe.
Yeah.
It's not a high-end role.
But to be fair, it's a league-wide problem. You got kickers missing extra points, long kicks all over the league.
Yeah.
A bit more than usual, which is weird.
Yeah.
How nervous were you guys yesterday when he was coming up for the
For
field goal?
sure.
Were
Yeah,
you
man,
like, oh
but
my gosh?
he was
Yeah, I was curious.
He's pretty solid.
Were your knees shaking?
They were pretty straight, though. No weird hooks or
No,
anything.
he did a great job.
Compared to that first Boswell one that wanted to hit the post. That looked
Yeah,
terrible.
it looked
Couldn't believe that
terrible.
went through.
I know.
What a shank.
Yeah, it was. All right, time now for the playback.
Yeah.
Let's
relive
relive one of the best wins of the season. Victory number 10 in a row. Yeah. Let's start off. Eagles on the field pregame, warming up. Delight. All right.
Jalen Cardigan, mean.
Here's Here's Jalen's pep talk before the game.
Hey, man, this ain't about nobody but us, man. Yeah. Ain't changed, and it ain't gonna change. This moment right now, because we in it. So what you gonna do about it? All the we go through, all the we been through, all the we doing to people in this moment right here. Show me something tonight, man. Leave that all out there on the field, man. All for one and one foul. Team on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Show me something tonight, man.
Nobody believes in us.
I like that,
Nobody.
man.
All right? Nobody believes in us.
Yeah, whatever you got to say to get it going.
I don't care, even though everybody does. That's all right.
Yeah.
He takes the
whatever
MJ
works
route
for
for
you,
this.
let's
Yeah.
do it.
I take it personally.
Yeah. Let's go setting up the field goal. How about that Kenneth Gainwell? Our man Kevin Burkhardt, Eagle fan that he is, Philadelphia sports fan that he is.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. He grew up in North Jersey,
Yeah,
but he's a Philadelphia sports fan.
interesting.
Yeah, he was like a big Eagles fan, big Phillies
Yeah.
fan.
I don't know if you guys caught this, but Tom Brady, I'm not a fan of him being an announcer. But Tom Brady in the
I thought
first,
he's been good.
he used the word muddy. He called something muddy.
Yeah,
and
the coverage of the.
And he's used it like 10 times after that. Someone must have given him a note to say, stop saying muddy. Because he kept saying everything was muddy. Muddy this, muddy that, muddy that, muddy this.
Muddy or money?
Muddy.
No, muddy. He
it
was
was
talking
muddy.
about the way they were disguising their covers to make it look
yeah.
muddy for
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Jalen.
he used it like 6 times.
Well, maybe they
and then
were.
Kevin
Maybe
got
they
on
had muddy
the
covers
muddy
a lot.
train.
The sidelines was always his friend.
Just because it's a coaching term or inside the locker room, game room term you don't know doesn't mean it's not applicable.
I have to tell you, I liked Brady.
He's getting better.
He is good.
He was horrendous.
He
I
was.
thought last night was
But
much better.
He's already way better than Romo.
Well, yeah, that's definitely
I went
true.
after the Eagles game. I went and watched the Lions, and he's horrible.
Yeah.
Never shuts up.
He's terrible, and sometimes his points are inane. All right, it's 3-0 Birds, and then things got weird. T.J. Watt with the punch out.
3rd and 4. It's only a 3-man rush. Hurts just going to run. Can he get there? Has a way to go. And he is still up. Another ball.
Yeah.
You see why they are atop the league in turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
All
Yeah.
they're doing is stripping and
That's all
punching.
they're punching and stripping. That's it.
That run was muddy.
Clawing. And then poor Cooper felt bad. Cooper Sharp buffed the punt. And he, right. So they kicked the
Big.
field goal. Game's tied. But then here comes the circle of love.
Is there any chance we get cousin VG to do the kid and play dance?
You can get me to do anything.
Yeah,
about
that was
him.
all played up.
I'll
this
do.
week.
Since when am I, a stiff?
I don't know. I didn't
No,
say you
man.
were. I
No,
just said
I'm
I'll
saying-
do it whenever.
I just think
He'll do whatever.
the young folks will do a disservice. I feel like the kid and play dance.
Yeah. Listen, we'll do it. Me and my man. It's 10-3. And now it's 17-3. Thanks to Devontae Joey.
Stays healthy, man. Unlike
No,
Goddard.
listen. He is a.
Knock on wood.
You're right. He's a,
Puts the work in.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's look. We got a montage of the Steelers' first 5 possessions.
It's a
Well,
12
it's a graphic
seconds.
that they used on the game, but there you go.
Montage
Punt,
like 12
punt,
seconds long.
punt, field goal, punt.
Look at that.
Negative,
that
negative,
defense.
negative.
Look at that defense. Are you kidding me? With that defense?
Negative 11 yards, negative 8 yards, negative 5 yards.
Oh, my God. Now, it's weird because they're dominating.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the Steelers score, and it's a 17-10 game.
Wilson lofting one for the corner. It is held on to by Freiermuth. Strong hands.
Yeah, he
by
was liking
Matt
Freiermuth.
And it's a touchdown for the Steelers.
Now, do you hear that?
Yeah, that's the move.
I was on the phone with my buddy
the
from
move.
Pittsburgh as he caught that. He's like, "You hear the move?" And there was a lot of jerseys down in the
Lot
parking
of
lot.
Penn State guy.
A lot of Steeler people.
Yeah.
Penn State guy.
Yeah.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson has a play on that ball, though. He has his hand on that ball. He lets him just rip that
I mean,
thing
it's
from him.
reminiscent of the one
You
last,
gotta
the
try.
one
You
against the
gotta
Ravens.
try, man, to pull that thing out of his hands.
Freiermuth is strong.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not. Yeah,
Oh,
but
strong.
when you got it, when you got a grip on it, you know.
I mean, come on, bro. What's the matter with you?
What do you
I
mean,
mean,
we're
it's
mad
tight
at me?
end.
Where do we start?
Come on.
You're unrealistic sometimes.
No,
Yes, you are.
it's not unrealistic.
That take was muddy.
That was a money take. Yeah, that's right. You're a king of bad takes. You know that?
The king of bad takes.
You're a bad taker.
Hey, man, you got your hand on the ball.
You're
You
a-
got it inside there.
You're
You
a
got to try
bad
to do
taker.
something.
You're a great dude and a great
saying.
producer, but you got some horrible takes.
Hey,
You do. You got bad takes.
he's got his
taker.
hand
He's
on the
a bad
ball.
taker.
You want CJGJ to punch him,
If
man.
he's a bike thief, you're the bad taker.
We can't hang out
Why?
because I'm a bad taker. He's a taker.
Yeah, 42 takers. You're a bad taker. And he's a bike thief.
I'll get him caught.
All right. That's even bad and convoluted.
Right.
All right.
Stick to the song and dance.
Let's get Saquon. Hey, you're a great entertainer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can sing, right? You
Doesn't
can
seem
act.
that way.
You can do voices. You just can't talk about sports.
Appreciate it. I appreciate the love this morning. It's great. Go Birds.
Let's go to this was scary. Listen, you put together a great and incredible playback.
Thank you.
All right? So you can just keep
See, I know the game.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I'm not saying you don't know the game.
Sam from
You
me.
just have bad takes.
Sam from England saying, hand on the ball, very aggressive take and a Delco accent to him.
Saquon gets hit, and this was scary. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, yeah.
No.
He's still not in the game, so don't have an official report. I know
he didn't play the whole half.
Yeah.
Do you think they were just saving him there?
I think it was precaution.
Do you think it was just
I
like?
don't know. I mean,
You got 2 minutes left in the half. Let's just save them. No risk.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to tell you, I was worried about that. Like as that was going on, he kept looking for him. Looking for him.
Yeah.
Nick, do you see Nick at halftime? He's like, Gainwell, he's our guy. We had a Gainwell in. It was passing downs.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Then it's 17-10, and you're going, all right, well, let's get it back to more than a one-score game. And TJ has a question. How nervous were you guys at that point? Because I started to get a little nervous. Like, man, they outplayed this team, and now the Steelers have the ball. They could drive, tie the game. All right, they got momentum, and they're raggy. The thing about the Steelers is that they're a raggy team. They're a lucky team. I say raggy meaning lucky.
Yeah.
They're a rag team. They really are.
Their wins are always ugly.
Yeah.
They play all 4 quarters, man.
Yeah.
They do. They play all
four
but they're raggy. Like like Russ stinks. Let's face it.
No,
Would you want Russell Wilson as your quarterback now? No. Now he makes things work, right?
Yeah.
Somehow in a raggy way. Like just everything about their offense I hate. Anyway.
You're right.
I was nervous.
Definitely nervous.
My boy over here. I wasn't nervous.
Nah. He's not nervous.
We got this.
Let's go.
I
Nolan
wasn't.
Smith.
I wasn't nervous.
That's because you whatever. Yeah. Big. No, you're right, JP. You're spot on. And then this is it, man. Then this was a big piece of the game. The Najee fumble.
Yeah. This is the whole. Did he get it there?
Yeah, Slay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was it. And of course, there it is. It ends with the tush push. I like Brady goes brotherly shove.
You like
You
that?
got to go brotherly shove. I always like, to me, brotherly shove greater than tush push.
Yeah, I could go without hearing tush push.
Yeah, I
fun
like
with it.
tush.
Or did you say? Did he say
tush.
tushy pushy? Or someone say tushy pushy recently?
That was him.
No, I did not say that.
Was that an announcer who said it?
No, it was.
I did not say tushy pushy.
I'll do
Who
this.
said it? Somebody said it.
Somebody did say it. Tushy
I don't know,
pushy.
but
I think it was you, Frazier.
no. I did
I'll say
not
the
do
tush
that.
push, but like in a French accent. Tush push.
Yeah, I don't like
Tush
it.
push.
I don't like
What
it.
did they
I don't
call
like
it?
Calling it tush.
They
I don't
called
like
it something in the Buffalo game last night. Damn.
Oh, they're trying to
Get what it was.
It was
their own moniker?
The Buffalo Bounce.
no. It was
Damn.
it was something.
Maybe
It was
someone
something after the player.
Oh,
I forget.
Okay.
Everybody's doing it.
yeah.
They're doing it college.
Yeah, everybody's
Oh,
doing
they're
it.
saying it's Tony Romo called it the tushy pushy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
Don't put me.
something- that
don't-
makes sense.
That
That
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
He's a bad taker. Don't put me in that category.
Yeah, like that's
Tushy
bad.
pushy. Come
That's
on.
terrible. I agree.
Something
I
he
wouldn't
would
say that.
Yeah, like he is weak. There's something creepy about him.
I'd
He's like
say
half a creep.
I'd say spicy mustard. I'm not going to say tushy pushy.
Right. You
No,
said spicy.
chat comes up again. The Buffalo snowplow. Not
Ah,
bad. Not
that's
bad.
right.
That's actually pretty
The
good.
snowplow's pretty good.
Chat rules. Chat rules today. Always. All right. Let's go to the brotherly shove.
What happened to our brotherly shove here?
Brotherly shove.
I lost my brotherly shove.
All right. Well, you can get this. Hit us with the game sealer that goes 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute drive, 22 plays.
Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me? I mean, that was unreal. So, and listen, I don't blame him in a sense, but Tomlin punts, pins the Eagles, and then the Eagles just take
Such a great
the
shot.
heart out of the game.
Can you imagine just sitting on the sidelines like Russ? Like, what the?
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Do it again. Hurts shove forward. Jalen Hurts is in.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Here it is. All right. Let's go to the end game. Here's Jalen and Russ.
You know what's crazy about that scene?
What's that?
That there was rumors that we were going to trade Jalen for that guy.
Oh yeah. Oh no. They
And
were
look at
all
it,
in on.
full circle, man.
They were all in on Wilson.
So Steelers not winning here since 1965, greater than Russell Wilson undefeated against the Eagles.
Yeah. And then here's AJ Brown talking about the win streak.
What's up, Eagle Nation,
Straight
man? We just got a
wins.
big dub against the Steelers, man. Back to work, man. Fly, get fly.
Great win.
Yeah, man. It's amazing. So Ian Rappaport,
No.
here we go. That Ali McNeil, torn ACL,
Ooh.
done.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Carlton Davis, not just a concussion, a broken jaw.
Whoa.
He's big. He's a terrific corner. Carlton Davis, broken jaw, out 6 weeks.
Yikes.
Oh my God.
Oh, someone's speaking here.
That's unbelievable.
Man, they were
This
just
is
bit by the
insane,
injury
man.
bug right now.
That's huge, man. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I'm all about a good road, but you know, I'd rather play a somewhat full Lions
Yeah, I'm with
team
that.
and get there.
Oh my God. That's wild. I would too. Just as a sportsman,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I don't want to
But
play.
I'd want the full Lions, but in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
you know? Because
Yeah.
I think the Eagles beat them.
This was cool. Bird Gang on Twitter, good follow, shared this. I guess Dunkin' Donuts did this. Or used greater than yins.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I like that. Yeah. The other one, did you guys see over the weekend when Belichick gets introduced in North Carolina?
What was up with that?
So they're playing LaSalle.
Oh, is that who they were playing?
Yeah.
Oh.
And in the state, all you see is E-A-G. They're doing Eagle chants at the game. Oh, classic.
Belichick was looking like Roy Williams with the blue track jacket.
Yeah. Classic. All right, quickly before we get to our Rite Aid back in the day moment, let's run through yesterday around the league. The Ravens roll. They beat the Giants. The Giants are dead.
Yep.
Oh, they're bad. Jets beat the Jaguars. Dallas over Carolina. Washington gives up a touchdown on with no time left, and the Saints go for 2 and don't get it.
Yeah, you got to go on the road. Got to go
Yeah.
for 2.
Oh, they were home, but they were the underdog.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Dude, what up with the Panthers? How'd the Cowboys handle them so well in the last 3 weeks?
I know. They destroyed them. What's the latest? Anybody hear the latest on Mahomes?
Week to week.
He'll be fine.
People are excited about a possible Hurts Carson Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, could you
Dude,
imagine
so
that? Oh,
funny.
that would be the greatest story.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
He'll never get there.
I know that would be great, though. I would love to see that. Texans over the Dolphins, Broncos all over the Colts, Arizona over the Patriots. We talked all day about the Bills, Lions. You know what's amazing? Tampa. This was a pretty impressive win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it
go
was.
into the Chargers.
Chargers
right?
defense is good.
It is Harbaugh, the whole thing. They put up a 40 burger. Baker is playing ridiculous.
He
4
is.
touchdowns for Baker Mayfield yesterday.
Mike Evans had 159 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Some
I mean,
respect on
that's
the name.
unbelievable.
And they found some life with this Bucky Irving.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Bucky. Everybody thought he wasn't going to play yesterday. And Green Bay, Seattle, the Packers roll last night. They jump out to a 14-0 lead, go right down the field, 2 long drives, and they never look back. Love playing well.
Yeah.
If there's
Yes.
one team in the NFC that I go, yeah, I'd like to avoid them, it would be Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a big second half quarterback.
He is. Last year he was.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't love the white Green Bay helmets.
I don't
with
like
you.
I hated that look.
Yeah.
That's been a thing this year. It's like the white out look.
Yeah,
Minnesota's doing it.
yeah, but that was, I mean, they were on the road. They're in Seattle.
Yeah, it's weird.
Tonight, Bears Vikings. So we'll watch the Vikings do some scouting, and the Falcons and the Raiders. Maybe we'll see Penix.
Real quick, we had a super chat in the show.
Oh,
nice.
From Kevin Jefferson. He says, FYI, Eagles sweep the toughest division, the AFC North.
Yeah.
KJ, he's spot
Yeah.
on, Kevin.
Sweep.
Thanks for
Sweet.
the
I
super
mean,
chat,
it is
Kev.
the toughest
Yeah.
division. They take care of Baltimore, the Steelers, the Bengals in Cincinnati, and the Browns.
Yep.
I was thinking like Zach too. I thought we would split between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and here we are.
Yeah, even Cincinnati. I
Yeah.
thought Cincinnati was a tough game.
Always tough.
No, that's a great point, Kevin. Great point. All right, time now for the Rite Aid back in the day moment.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's keep the good vibes going. All right.
I
So
like
obviously yesterday we broke history, longest winning streak in a single season Eagles history. So we're gonna go back to the second time they did this back in the Super Bowl year, 2017. They had the 9-game winning streak. So this is the 9th game against the Chicago Bears. We rolled over the Bears, winning 31-3.
That was a Monday night game.
It's actually
Or
Sunday.
Sunday night. Was it?
This was a Sunday 1:00 game against the Bears. So you're probably thinking of the next game, which was the Seahawks game, which was Sunday night, and that's when our
I thought
streak
that was
got
the
snapped.
Bear. Okay. I remember doing a game on ABC. Yeah.
There's Rasul's interception, and then a nice little celebration. What was the celebration of the year? And this is a dance that everyone should be able to do. The electric slide.
Russell's still
A
playing.
little
He was
Green
hurt
Goblin. Yeah, he's made a nice career.
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah. The Packers miss him.
Oh,
Yeah.
That they do.
Here it is. Your
There it is.
Rite
Back
Aid
in the day,
back in the day moment.
Electric slide.
All right, what a day, man. Great day, right?
It's fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Birds.
Keep winning.
This is it. Super Bowl. We
Yeah.
can actually say it. You know, you
can say
feel
it?
it.
I start looking at hotel rooms now.
Yeah. I don't want to do that yet, but I do. You can. Other people can, for planning purposes, go right ahead. All right. Yes.
Just start shopping the prices.
That's going to do it for us, everybody. Have a great day. All right. Doesn't matter if it's raining outside or in here in the studio. Enjoy your day. We love you guys. It's all good from here on out. Merry Christmas, Philadelphia.
We all silly like the mayor.